Hello. You know what? This is the third time I take this video again, and I decided to just want to take it slow. So I trying to rush it a bit just now, trying to make those type of short videos that speed run, point one, point two, point three. But then I just realized it's just I'm just like panicking because I try to keep on speaking. So I decided this third take I'm gonna just slow down and just enjoy the process of sharing. I'm wearing this same shirt again, SpongeBob. So I have something to share on my mind. And because I don't do YouTube too frequently, so it's not something that it's easy to do it because I do store a lot. I do procrastinate because I don't know if my sharing is the greatest, or like if I have the clearest thoughts that I want to share. So this time sometimes I do lah. Okay, sometimes I do. I will write down in my notes on my phone, so I can just refer to it as I speak. And before this video starts, this is solely based on my opinion, my experience, and my perspective, my feelings on it. And it's not made to offend or attack anyone. It's just to share how I think and how I feel. And I think it's a wonderful platform to be able to share uh, your perspective to others. And also people can share it. You can do the same thing to you as well. So let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is, why is it that we want to make changes in our life? There could be a few things. For example, things that we used to do, and it's just when we grow up it no longer serves us. For example, maybe like habits, and maybe even like a relationship, your friendship or your romance, whatever it is, it might just not work out as it used to, so we make changes. Another thing is because for example, like the belief, the mindset, the false belief that we used to have. And when we grow up, we notice that, oh, this belief is wrong or doesn't suitable for me. So this is something that we is also a factor to why we want to make changes. At least for me, I used to have a lot of false belief and a lot of misleading ideas and all the thoughts and all of that. So it's also why I want to make changes for myself. Right. Second thing is, why is it so hard to do so? Well, because it's tiring. That it takes a lot of focus and it takes a lot of effort. Sometimes even more than what we think we need. For example, if you gave your 100%, you thought I did my best, but then it somehow still feels like it's not enough for you or for me, for myself. So that's why make we might feel like we just go back to the old things, go back to the former, is it, go back to the former habits or like routine or like lifestyle and all that. So, and because a lot of times I feel like happiness, it's like one of the main purpose for us to do what we do. For example, if I make art, for example, I do it because I enjoy it. It makes me happy that I create all this cute art and all these very epic and fantastic motion graphic. So then I feel happy, and I don't always necessarily feel happy or proud, but it's something that I'm passionate at doing. So I think that's more than just happiness itself. But to me, I feel like happiness is one of the reason why we do what we do and why we make changes. Maybe it's less of happiness and more like contentment, because happiness maybe it's just more like a temporary feelings, but then contentment and the inner peace, the serenity, the harmony, I know that it maybe it's for a lifetime and for eternity. So that's why it's one of the thing. And because we are very used to uh, doing one thing, right? For example, me myself, I have a lot of unhealthy habit, but then I'm so used to doing it. So then, if I want to change it, it's very hard because it's something like I do every day, or at a certain time of the day I will do that thing. And right now, all of a sudden, I choose not to do again, but it feels hard because I feel like I'm forcing myself to do to not do or to do something to change that basically. And the third thing is because of the notion of happiness. It's a bit different than what I just mentioned. The notion of happiness, in my experience, is more of like the craving, because I keep having this fantasy, this ideas of if I get here or if I get that thing, if I have this, if I have fall in love with someone, or if you're happy. So it becomes this notion and becomes this endless craving and desire of uh, chasing something and all that. So, and it leads to a lot of suffering because life doesn't always go our way. And I feel like a lot of times it doesn't, because for me, I have high expectation, and I you know want my, for example, if I want to do something, I expect myself to always just go high up, just keep like improving, and then I mean, it doesn't do that, right? You're gonna have time that where it's like this, and then you can have time where it's like this. So it's not constantly improving. Sometimes there in life in general as well, there's just ups and downs. So that's why it makes me feel upset. It makes me feel depressed and anxious because of the expectation of what I set for myself. And in one of the video I watched, if you guys know PewDiePie, he talks about um, the he talks about the book Nichomachean Ethics by Aristotle. That he says there's one sentence where there's a gap between how we perceive ourselves of what we're capable of doing and what we actually achieve. So it creates a lot of anxieties. So some people can do more, and then some people can do more but don't think they can do, and then you have the opposite of you have the limits, but then you expect a lot more. So I feel like I'm kind of like both of these two. I focus on keep wanting to make changes, keep pushing, keep forcing, and then keep blaming and shaming, but then I hardly appreciate myself for all the changes that I made and all the process of I grow up, all the things that I came through, that I went through. So that's uh that's also one thing that is why it's hard to do so. I'm not sure if it makes sense. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Yeah, it's because of this expectation and because of this all these notions. So it becomes a thing that I want to achieve one thing, right? But then it's very because of the expectation and all that, the notion of happiness, the perfect life, all these things, and then I don't get it. So I then at the end I just fall into this depressed emotions and feeling very anxious, and then instead of actually doing something, I'm now not doing anything at all because I'm already like feeling upset. I'm feeling burnout from all this expectation I set for myself, and also like I earlier the thing I said, the gap of what I perceive I can do and what I actually done. And yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. What the thing I just explained, even though I probably didn't prepare like the best, but I think I just want to go with the flow of what I said, even though I do break a lot of things, but I don't want to force myself to, say according to the script and all that. I just want to use this as like my point referencing, and then just whatever it's in my mind and however I feel, I would just talk. Yeah, just go with it. Yeah. All right. This is a take two of part two video because I just realized I didn't record my audio. Shit, man. I talk like what, 8 minutes or something. I don't remember, but I just realized I did not record. Let's here we go again. Before we go to the next point, I can give some example of the why is it hard to change. For example, if I have this habit of look at my screen, whether it's playing video games or like playing playing video games or watching YouTube, and instead of sleeping, I might just choose to play game or watch YouTube, right? Because more entertainment, it's fun. Even though I'm like tired already, I still look at my screen, and compared to sleeping, it's not like I'm gonna fall asleep immediately. I might just like lay on the bed 1 or 2 hours, still not fall asleep yet. So I would choose. Why not? I choose that one, right? Why not? I choose the game or the entertainment, and it makes sense. And why would I want to make changes on sleeping early then? Because there's a lot of there's a lot of benefit. There's a lot of benefit on sleeping early, even though I still feel like I haven't experienced it yet. I mean, I do experience it in the past, but right now it's just like even there are times that I try to sleep early, but I still feel like I'm tired. I'm equally tired the next day. So of course it would make sense that I choose the game and the entertainment part. But and just in this contradiction of which one I would want. And so I till this day I still do the same. Still playing games and watching YouTube. Which is something I want to change. I know it's not easy, but slowly. Another example is that I please people a lot. If you watch my previous video, I talk about that I'm a people pleaser, and also for someone who struggle with the obsessive compulsion disorder, OCD. So I often, feel the need to reach out to people, feel the need to apologize, and so I don't want to continue feeding on that compulsion. I want to break free from it. And so in the process of making these changes, it will feel very difficult, and I just experience it. I experience almost every day, and it's very difficult, and it's just like a lot of struggles. But through the way I really sees a lot of improvement, and I feel like it will take time to grow and change, and so on in this process of changing, I would feel like I I feel the need, feel the urge. I don't know if the urge if it's the right word, but I would basically I will feel very anxious, and I feel like I need to just do it, man. Just do it, and I'll feel alright again. But I realize I can't. I just can't keep doing it. Because I do ask myself how long more do I need to repeat the same thing again and again and again. And so previously, like lately, I experienced this one thing where I did reach out to someone, but I didn't reach out immediately, and my anxiety, it's a bit different. It goes basically like this, and then like this, and then like this, and then like this, and I didn't feel like a constant anxiety until I reach out to people, but rather I feel like I want to take another path, and I want to risk that. By not doing so, I will feel miserable, I will feel anxious and all that. and it's no fun to feel anxious, because I would feel hard to breathe, I would have tight chest, I would have belly stress and all that. But I feel it's necessary to make these changes, and yeah, from there I really see improvement more or less. Because I feel like regardless of the OCD thing, I just feel like I cannot continue pleasing others. I want to be free. I don't want to bound to other people opinion. I don't want to be depending on them when it comes to my life. I want to be responsible for my own life, and I want to be there. I want to respect myself. I want to stand at my own point. I want to, you know, heal from all this past trauma and all that. So yeah, all right. The next thing is, how do we change then? If we really want to change, but how? The one of the thing is to take time, and I think it's very cliche to say that, because it's like it's something that it's overused. People always tell you to take time, take time, take time, but it is true. Then the reason why we take time is, if you look at a human, a baby, or you look at a plant, they do take years and years just to grow. And same with us. Even if we are now an adult, even if people tell us, oh, you should know better, it's basic, stuff like that. And we do need time for ourselves, because everyone is different. Some people can change in one try, some people can change in 100 try, or 10, or however it is. And I think no matter what it is, it's important to be there for ourselves. That even if we are not perfect being, we make a lot of mistakes, the unnecessarily one perhaps, or the careless mistake, and we have a lot of flaws, we are not perfect. And I think at the end we are enough. Our worthiness is not defined by how smart, or how physically strong, or how rich we are, or how good we are at something, or how talented we are at something, but by our moral choices, our virtue. At least that's what I believe in. So when it comes to this, and I think it's important to take time to understand why you feel how you feel right now, and why you want to change, how it will feel if you don't change, how it will feel if you are during the time when you change, how will you feel during the process of changing, and how it will feel after change. And yeah, I think it's important to ask yourself that what's the benefit, that we need to sacrifice something. For example, if I'm addicted to video game, I keep thinking that, oh, if I play video game, my problem will be gone. I don't have to care about everything and all that. I will be happy. So I rely on game heavily to make me feel happy. But for the long run, I didn't feel happy, and I feel worse. I feel even more unhappy and depressed and anxious and all that. So, and then I need to ask myself, why do I want to change, and why do I do this at the first place? We always need to. I think when it comes to changes, we need to sacrifice something. We need to, we need to do things that is difficult for us. And life is not suffering itself, but life contains a lot of suffering, and there's a lot of pain as well. But there's also a lot of opportunity, the opportunity to use this pain and suffering to strengthen ourselves, to make ourselves a better person. And I think we give this pain and suffering a purpose to our growth. And yeah, so we need to start very small. As you always say to my friend, boo boo steps means like a tiny and small steps to change. And it's very easy to say tend to do because, like I said, for me, I expect a lot from myself. I would want constant improvement, but I know at the end there will be, rising. There will be, what's the other word of rising? The falling. There were ups and downs. So it's not constantly the same. Even about healing as well. Healing is not consistent. Someday you will still feel awful. You will still feel anxious. You will still feel upset about things that happened a long time ago. And then someday you just, feel better about it. So healing is not like consistent, and it takes time. Everything takes time. And I think it's important to remind ourselves. And yeah, and so because we are so used to the same thing, it's just very difficult to break free from what we want to change. But it's not impossible. In a book I read, it's called 12 Rules of Life. I think it's called Of Life. It's written by Jordan Peterson. This sentence, it says, to have meaning in your life is better to have what you want, because you may neither know what you want nor what you truly need. And I think it's something important because like I mentioned earlier, I always have this notion of what might make me feel happy, and then as soon as I get it, the happiness is just gone, or I feel even unhappy, or even I continue chase for the next thing, and then it's just like endless chasing and endless desire, and I just feel like I'm not grateful for what I have, which I understand. I understand how I feel about it, and I'm choose to be there for myself and give myself the time I need and to understand why I feel how I feel. So in the process of changing, there's a lot of for me that I'm experiencing lately. There's a lot of extreme thoughts. For example, like the screw the world, the cut all the relationship, leaving everyone, and it's just like very extreme thoughts. And also I have this feelings, perhaps a mix of emotion of anxious, uh, anger, or like a numbness, I guess you could say. And I think it's my understanding is that it's norm it's I mean whether it's normal or not, I feel like it's part of the process for me. And I might feel like depressed and anxious because of, for example, the things or the people that I used to rely, that I no longer want to continue relying on. For example, if I'm have addiction, right? I have addiction on video game. I have addiction of like adult content. So right now, if I want to change, which mean I I would either not have them anymore, or I would cut down a lot. And so this because of this, it might make me feel depressed. It might make me feel anxious because I no longer have them when I need them. And I think it's something important for us to change because uh not to talk about us lah, talk about me, right? I think it's something important for me to change because if I continue rely on something to make me feel happy, and I will ultimately will not feel happy, and I just feel like I would destroy my life, which I do notice that I am less happier when I rely on things to make me feel happy in the first place. In the process of making changes, I would feel um, I'm not sure what I want. What do I really what choices are actually the best for me? Even though when I take this approach of making a big change, right? Changing from the left path to the right path, I I'm like very sure this is the best for me. But then in the process, I will start doubting more or less from time to time. Over doubt, and I think that's something that happens too in the process of it, because what if you walk halfway or almost the end of the road to your goal, right? Then only to come to a realization that you always have been wrong. So right, so and I think this happens because for me, because I, like I said, I worry about the opinions of others, so that's why I have this self doubt, and that's part of the reason why. And I think it's something common as well for me, and I feel like for a lot of people too, because there's no one that tells us what is actually the right, because everyone is different, and everything ev- what uh, everyone finds different ways to suit them, right, to helps them in life. So some way might be helpful for someone, some ways doesn't. And uh, I think the things we can do is to try. For someone who studies Stoicism on my own, I haven't really explored too much of the philosopher like Aristotle and Plato and Socrates, Diogenes, and Seneca. Yeah, I haven't explored a lot more. And by the way, I think if I'm not wrong, I what I heard is that Aristotle and Plato is not Stoic philosopher. I think I'm not so sure, but that's what I heard from the internet. I think that's not the main point. For someone who studies Stoicism myself, and I, in Stoicism, it says there are things that is within our control, and there are things that aren't in our control or beyond our control. And so we what we can do is focus on what we can control, because we don't have control already. Like, so what is the point to worry, right, to feel upset about things that we don't have any control at all. It's kind of like if you play a video game, the only control you have is your character, not the NPC or how the boss can affect you, right? And so whatever is not in our control, we allow them to be as they are, and we learn to accept and embrace them, to acknowledge their existence. Yeah, so that's one thing that helps as well to for these changes. That, yeah, a lot of times I think for me, I get blinded by a lot of things, I get distracted, and a lot of factors, because I put a lot of focus on them, and it weighs me down. And I think it's a good reminder to remind ourselves what is really in our control and what is not. And so at the end, we all focus on what we can control, and let it be our virtue. Yeah, I think, yeah. mm, I think I think I'm gonna say I instead. Yeah, it's the same one. I think the point is that I the video like I make is not to generalize or talk for everyone, but then I do use the term of you or we. I think it's for those who can relate, or are in this similar situation. So whenever I use the term we or you, it's not to you know talk about everyone that is the same. It's just for those who are related to it, and can related to it. Yeah. So as a wrap up, I think at the end there's no right and wrong, as long as we don't have the harmful intention to others, we don't act immoral or unjust, and I think we can do whatever that feels right for us. because ultimately everyone have different opinion, and we just cannot please everyone, even if it's like the closest, the friends or like family, the loved one. We cannot continue living in others' opinion. To be free, we need to be free from them. We need to be independent, and I need to be independent. Yeah, and yeah, I think I wanna practice using I instead, and a lot more. And yeah, if I don't do so, right, I feel like at the end I'm just I just bow myself to people, and being a slave to them, and then my emotion and my life choices will just be depending on them. And I feel like it's not a good thing to be dragged around by people. And it's not like everyone just actively drag me. It's more like I let them drag. Or yeah, it's kind of like an object that is like tied to a string, but then maybe the person is not even didn't even know, and then you're just like at the floor, it's just like keep dragging like that. So yeah, I think yeah, so far that's all for now. uh, Before this video ends, I think just now with like what I said, I do feel I scared more or less. Whenever I make what a content like YouTube, I do afraid if I would hurt someone's feeling because of my word choice and all that. But I do feel like throughout my journey, I I do hurt a lot of people. Back then, I used to be that type of person who, as long as I'm honest, I'm just gonna say it, even if it's brutal. I'm gonna go 100% fatality mode. But then as I grow older, I realized that I was wrong because I wasn't considerate about the things that I said, and I, at least to me, I was wrong. And so I changed. I didn't change for people, I changed for myself because I starting to understand my nature more or less, that I am I am actually a soft and gentle person, and that because of my previous action is more of because I was frustrated and I was lost. I feel angry, I feel upset and all that, and I just project my the way I speak, I project my action, my words to other people. That's why I find it wrong. But I do understand and I do embrace my past self, and I still learning to embrace it. And I want to be there for myself, even if it's a past already. I want to let my past self know that he's love, same as his current now, his love. So I think like just now, when I'm like just like panicking a bit to explain, I'm not gonna cut that part of the video. I'm just gonna leave it there. I think ultimately, whether it's I'm saying I or saying you or we, whatever it is, the point, my intention is to just to make a point, and for those who being in the same situation or they can relate, I'm just talking like generally, and it's not to like call out anyone or like judging that everyone is the same, because I know at the end everyone is different. And I feel like as long as I'm being polite, and as long as I'm being how to say soft, as I being honest, respectful, yeah, that's the word. As long as I being respectful, then uh, I know that that's all that matters the most. And whatever others opinions hold is not of my concern. But at the same time, I allow myself to be open to opinions and what 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 is useful for me to change. And I think that's really one way to help me grow. And I feel like I'm in this state, and in this stage where it's anxiety provoking to think this way. But I feel like slowly, with time, I can calm down more. And I'm choosing not to force myself to not feel anxious, because I know there's a reason for why I feel anxious, and I want to take this as my what as a question to find out why I feel how I feel, and through this to understand more of myself. And yeah, and I think that's all. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. I think I need a unique intro and outro. I still haven't think of one yet, but soon. Alright, see you.